Yo, what is up, everybody? Back again. Y'all already know what
Nail,
it is.
play that shit.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, man, this man got the background.
You already know, man! Easy money. Well, it should be easy money, but like
Look,
I
knock
said,
on wood.
Look at the rookies we drafted. We got Dean and we got Davis. Two Jordan. It doesn't get better than that shit.
you gotta put that shit up.
As Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first,
You're
you're
last.
last.
Exactly.
Second place is at 2.
Definitely gonna make up for it.
Trust me. I need a sports podcast, man. I need it. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the I Need a Sports podcast. You already know what it is. Your host with the most, my dog Cam, myself Bryce. Here to recap divisional round, the NFL playoffs. We are officially really 2 days. It's Thursday night that we're recording this, but we're really 2 days away from conference championship weekend, and then 2 weeks, the final game of the season, Super Bowl. It's just really sad thing about we only got 3 more NFL games for the year. I don't know how we got here this quick. It literally feels like yesterday the season was starting, but we here. It's the Final Four. Got some great conference round matchups. We're going to touch on those later in the episode. Like I said, first we're going to get to this recap of the divisional round weekend. Got to kick it off with my boys in KC, the first game. Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Something had to give. Patrick Mahomes, they lost a Saturday game in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence had lost a Saturday game whatsoever. And from the first drive, I knew they came to play today. Like, they was on one. Mahomes was pulling every trick out his bag, marched right down the field. And then even when we gave up the nice little kick return after that, and then they went down to score, and we went right back and scored again, I was like, oh, yeah. Boys ready to play today. And then, of course, the what almost would have been a heartbreaking thing happened. Looked like Patrick Mahomes broke his leg when Arden Key fell on it. And I'm thinking, oh, well, shit, there goes the season, like, just like that. Like, we always talk about, like, it's crazy how much a team could be prepared to, to win the Super Bowl, go on a run, do whatever, and then one injury like that and this violent game can just end it. I for sure thought, like, damn, that does not look good. I didn't want to think the worst, but at the same time, I was like, bro, we about to have 2020 when he went out with, it wasn't even a concussion, when he got like choked to the ground and he like damn near passed out, and so he got a wobbly and he had to sit out the game. We had to rely on Chad Henne. Shout out Chad Henne too, man. Anything is possible, man. 98-yard drive. He didn't do much, but he did what needed to be done. So credit to him coming in the game after that injury, taking us down the field 98 yards. They fed that boy Pacheco finally.
I was about to say, shout out to Pacheco because he had a big part doing that at the end.
Well, yeah, I got some stuff lined up for Pacheco this week. I think it's gonna be. I mean, I've been saying it needs to be one of these games where it's just a coming out party, but like with the Mahomes injury and then everything that the Bengals do just defensively, I think this is gonna be Pacheco's day finally, and I think this line gonna be pissed off enough to actually make a way for him to do what he needs to do. But yeah, we ended up winning 27-20. Luckily, the last field goal covered my over 44.5 on my teaser, only for the Buffalo Bills and Cincinnati to sell it because I had their over. I didn't think Cincinnati was going to whip them the way they did. But, man, I'm not going to sit up here in front. While I did have all the confidence in the world that, we was going to win, and when I seen, the first couple drives, knew we were going to win, that Jacksonville team, they are going to be nice next year. Getting Calvin Ridley back in that offense.
Yeah.
Man, I'm honestly, I don't know when the odds will come out, but I know they'll be good odds. I'm going to throw some money on them to win the AFC, like out of nowhere. because I feel like they're, it's a capped league. You seen Brandon Bean the other day talking about, well, we're not set up the right way like the Bengals, who have all their good players on rookie contracts, even though he's still the one who set up the Buffalo Bills. You're the G, like he made that team. So there's only so much excuse you can make. But Jacksonville, all that young talent, they went out and spent a boatload of money in the offseason and free agency. Then got Calvin Ridley for a steal, and ETN and Lawrence back-to-back first-round picks. Walker, number 1 pick from this year. Like that team is loaded, and they probably will be loaded for at least the next 2-3 years until they have to pay Lawrence a bag. But I really think if the dice fall the right way, whatever you want to call it, because you already know it's going to be a gauntlet in the AFC playoffs from now on for the foreseeable future with all this young QB talent. But if the Bengals knock off us or we knock off the Bengals, somebody knock off the Bills, and all they have to do is face one of the other ones and get a dub, they can easily find themselves in the AFC Championship game. So highly impressed with the Jags, man. Good news is Mahomes looks pretty good from the ankle injury, which is really crazy the way, like, once you look at the actual replay of what happened and knowing it's a high ankle sprain, to see how he's just moving right now in practice. I know it's just practice. We'll really see come game time, but dude is an alien and a warrior, bro. Like, come in and still lead us to victory and then throw the game clinching touchdown pass off his other leg, because he made a jump pass earlier in the game off his right leg. But once that ankle was hurt, he's like, well, I got to do it with my left now. On the money, man. I'm going to go on a rant later, but he's the best fucking quarterback in the league. Arguably the best fucking quarterback we've ever seen. It's not really a debate.
I'll say it anytime.
Yeah,
I'll say it
he's
anytime.
about what? He's 1 week away from winning his second MVP when we have the awards. Was it next Thursday or something? Like,
Yeah.
what he's gonna be the first, or not the first. He's gonna become, I think, the 10th player with multiple MVPs in league history at the age of 27. 5 years in, 6 because he didn't play his rookie year, but 5 years of playing, 2 MVPs, 10th player. So yeah, man. What'd you think of my Chiefs versus the Jags? And are you worried about the years to come in the AFC South with the prince that was promised in Trevor Lawrence? Because the boys, just one more play that's stuck out on my mind. That I think it was a third down when it's basically the end of the fourth quarter and they're trying to drive and keep their hopes alive. And he took off towards the sideline. I forgot which player hit him. I think it was our safety, Brian Cook. Trevor Lawrence trucked the mess out of him. It was it was reminiscent of that time Herbert did it, his first game ever when we played them in LA, and he trucked I think it was Damian Wilson and damn near knocked him out. Boy, but when he has to use his legs, he can use his legs, and people forget about that. Like, Trevor Lawrence is 6'6".
Yeah, he'll big boy.
He's a big guy. Yeah. And Brian Cook definitely learned on the sideline, man. But yeah, touch on the game and tell me, how you think the AFC South, if is it theirs for the foreseeable future?
It definitely might be. I definitely see it. Like you said, they adding Calvin Ridley and getting ETN in there, and gonna have Zay Jones plus with Christian Kirk, and now they also figuring out how to use Evan Ingram. So I mean, these guys are just they're playing good football right now, even though they lost. They played good football this year. Towards the end of the year, T-Law finally putting things together, and he was working out. So I mean, you gotta look at it. This only their first year with Doug Peterson. And then, they doing this, they only lose to 7 against, the Kansas City Chiefs. So, I mean, for me, it feels like they can do whatever. Like, they definitely gonna win the AFC South. So I can definitely see that coming in the past few years. But yeah, man, watch out for the Jags team, because that defense also is good enough. Even though the secondary is kind of not there yet. They gave up some big passing numbers in the regular season, but that front seven is pretty good. So I would say yeah, for sure. Watch out for the Jags. I can definitely see them taking over. Not taking over, but definitely like competing in the AFC or being that top seed in the AFC for sure. Now, as for the Chiefs, man, I mean, what can we say, man? It's just it's incredible seeing this guy go out there and just play football. Every Sunday, or a Monday or a Thursday. It's like he's much watched TV right now. It's kind of like I mean, we all compare him to it, but he's like Steph Curry. Like he pretty much changed the game. Like it's like he's like I said, he's must watch TV. You always gotta watch Patrick Mahomes whenever he plays, no matter who he's playing. Not if he's playing against the Texans or he's playing against the Chargers. Every game, it's like you have to watch this guy, and you just got to see like the different stuff he does. But man, that first half before he got injured, I mean he just looked flawless, like just flawless. You can tell he was ready to kill the this playoffs and stuff like that. And then that injury, when I seen what happened, and that guy went back on his foot or whatever, the injury happened. I was like, dang, like that didn't look good at all. Some people are saying ACL. I never really got ACL vibe off of it. I got more of a like, something happened to his ankle, and I mean, I feel like this the best news you can probably even like think of. They came out and said it's a high ankle sprain. Sometimes for high ankle sprains, some guys, they got to be out longer than other guys. Other guys, they can heal much faster off a high ankle sprain. But for me, that was the best case scenario, because that could either been like a broken fibula, as we've seen, Tony Pollard has.
Same exact injury.
Same exact injury, the same exact play. Or it could have been like, like a broken ankle or some crazy stuff like that. So, I mean, to me, that was the best case scenario, like I said. But he came back after that Chad Henne. So that possession was probably the best play calling I didn't ever seen Andy Reid like ever call. Because that was like it was so pure and flawless. Like it was at 98 yards, right? That was
98. That was yards, a crucial point in the game too, because like the whole energy of the stadium has been zapped. Because like, I mean, we see Mahomes get injured, he stays in, kick a field goal, and then you see him on the sidelines, saying like, "No, don't pull me out. Like, don't pull me out." And the coach talked to him. Next, they're like, which Reid said this week, like he just wanted to confirm and make sure, like, even though Patrick, obviously he gonna stay in there if it's up to him. He just wanted to confirm, like, bro, is your foot or leg broken? Like it didn't look good and you're hobbled. So go to the x-rays. If that's a negative, then you come back. So you see Mahomes like slam his jacket, pissed, because he's got to go to the locker room and get that done. We get the Jaguars to punt. We get the ball back, but then they punt it all the way to the 2, and it's like, bro, okay, Henny in, just do enough. Like, whatever you do, just don't have a mistake where, like, we get a safety, or don't turn the ball over. Yeah. Because the Cleveland game in 2020, when this happened in the divisional round, he played good, but then it was a drive where we could have put the game away. We're driving, we're at the 40, and he tried to force and throw it deep to Tyreek in triple coverage, picked off, and now Cleveland has the ball with a chance to win. Luckily, our defense got the stop, and then he clutched up and got us a first down on 4th down after running for like 13 yards.
I remember that.
3rd and long before that. So from that game, he was prepared, but like just seeing that, and then this past Saturday, it's like, okay, like if we don't score here or we don't move the ball at all, we're gonna give the ball to Jacksonville with short field more than likely. And they score, they go up 14-10, and it's like, oh, damn, the momentum, everything just gone from the game. And, like, yeah, even if Mahomes come back, we would have faith, but it's like, do you really want to be battling back from being down with a obviously hobbled quarterback? And to go down and do that 98-yard drive, like, no, that was probably our best drive of the season, just off of the circumstances, the play calling, everything. And then finally, like, Pacheco, he's great, and we've been saying that, but that was his first, like, that was his longest rush of the season. It was 40 yards.
Oh, wow.
Like, he hadn't had a run yet where he just busted out for like 30 plus, and he got 40 on that one. So yeah, that chef's kiss, the whole thing from start to finish. And hey, man, Big Red, what can you say? I mean, he doesn't get the credit he really deserves, and it's because he hasn't won as many Super Bowls as he can. So hopefully we could get him his second one this year. And if Cam listened to this, it would be even, a better feeling that we get that Super Bowl number 2 against Philly, who got rid of him way back in the day.
Ooh.
But yeah, man, like I said, that's a hell of a drive, hell of play calling that whole time, man. So yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like, if, like, because obviously, so I think Mahomes with his ankle, he had a high ankle sprain back in 2019. Ironically enough, versus Jacksonville, first game of the season. Josh Allen fell on his left foot, same way. So his left foot, he's still able to do some stuff. His right foot is his plant foot. So that's the only thing that worries me. But I mean, he throws from so many different angles. It's like it probably won't affect him as much as it would another quarterback. I'm really just concerned with if the Cincinnati does blitz, or, defensive end, like Hubbard does beat Orlando Brown off the edge or something. Can he get away enough and not, be injured after the fact, or like agitated a lot, or like, can he just be mobile enough to sometimes get himself out of a jam? Because more than likely he's gonna be, get pressured a little bit this game, because since he's got a great defense, which no one ever talks about for whatever reason. Like, people, love to give Joe all this credit, but Anarumo has got them boys balling, and he's had them balling for the past 2 years. And somehow, some way, he got 0 coaching interviews, but that's a story
Yeah, that's
for another day.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that defense gonna come with it. So definitely gonna be interesting to see. And then, of course, this week it's been all watch on his ankle, like videoing him walking out of the press conference room, videoing him stretching on the field, analyzing, people zooming in like, oh, is he got a hitch? Is he hobbled there? Like, is there a slight limp? Is he putting pressure on his foot this way, that way? And Mahomes, like, bro, I mean, can't really, I don't know what y'all think y'all can tell from me walking, but you can't tell anything. But after the game, his mom posted on her Instagram, like, at his house after the fact, hugging him. She's like, knowing everything is all good. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, he gonna be all right. Like, it was a scare, but when it comes game time Sunday, I think, like, they're obviously probably still gonna shoot him up with what is it? I think I forgot what the exact. I think it starts with an F, something like that. But numb his ankle up, of course, and then adrenaline get going. But I think he'll be good. He'll be ready to go. And if he's able to put on a masterpiece performance and pull this game off on a bum ankle and lead to Super Bowl, it's still no argument as it, but it shouldn't be, anyways. But to do that, circumstances versus the Bengals, who we haven't beat, yeah, man, a lot on the line, a lot on the line. But we're gonna touch on that a little bit later. Next up, man, Giants and them Eagles. Man, I stayed away from it because I really didn't know how to call this game, but it was Eagles from the jump, and it was never a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to. Part of the reason I want to stay away is because I didn't know how scared the Giants were, but at the same time, like I said, I didn't think the Giants were good still. They just happened to play the Vikings, who were never good.
Yeah.
And everybody said that. And so they put it on their defense. It's a terrible defense. They fired their defensive coordinator the next day after that game. And as we've talked about plenty of times, Philly is loaded everywhere. That's them, the 49ers, which is the matchup this week in the NFC. They have the 2 best complete rosters in the NFL. What Howie Roseman and John Lynch have done as GMs to put those teams together, it's exceptional. And their talent, you could just tell from the jump, from kickoff. The Eagles have way more talent than the Giants, and that talent showed throughout the game. And now the Giants are kind of in a tough situation where, yeah, you had a great year, did over exceeded expectations clearly, but now Saquon is a free agent and Daniel Jones, this was his last year of his rookie deal. So do you still want to pay, or do you want to pay Danny Dimes? Like, do you think you've seen enough? Because granted, I mean, I still don't think he's seen enough, but at the same time, he didn't have anybody to throw to. And I think he's like one of the few quarterbacks to have 20 plus touchdown passes and less than 5 interceptions in a season. Credit to Dayball, because like you see, Josh Allen, Dayball was his coach, fixed his turnover problem. He leaves. Allen back to the most turnovers this year by a quarterback, and then Daniel Jones, who people were saying he needed to be let go because he couldn't not turn over the ball. And now, look, at the same time, I don't want to throw him a max deal. And then you got Saquon, who it's already came out this week. He turned down a $12 million a year contract because I think Christian McCaffrey is getting 16, I want to say. And Saquon, I think, is looking for the range of 14. So how do you think the Giants should maneuver this? Do you think it's worth it to sign Saquon to a big deal? Because I mean, yeah, he bought out, he showed he's Saquon Barkley, but at the same time, this was his first full year since his rookie season. And then the last 3 years, it's been injury after injury. And you already know the lifespan of a running back in the NFL isn't long. So how this is one of the toughest situations, cap wise in the offseason. How you think they should maneuver, and you think Danny Dimes is still the franchise guy? Or
I think they gotta go ahead and sign they gotta sign Saquon to a long-term deal, I feel like. I think he's just one of those running backs. He's gonna be good for a while. I mean, he got a good play style to him. He's still, I mean, this year, he basically showed, once he's healthy, how good he is. He's like one of the top 8, top 5 running backs in the league, in my opinion. In the league, whatever, at his position. So yeah, I think they should sign him to a long-term deal, give him that around that 14 mil a year should be pretty good for him. I would say. Then also with Danny Dimes, you know, it's I'm not gonna say it's not hard, but it's kind of hard, like in a way to like find like a quarterback that can like a younger guy like him that that just came out of college or whatever. Well, he's been in the league for a minute now, but what I'm trying to say. Like he was a top pick. It's hard like finding guys that can just come in and replace him, other than like obviously veteran guys. And I feel like Giants are the type of team to where once they draft you, no matter what position you are, they're gonna try to keep you for the most part, unless you're Kadarius Toney, obviously.
thank you.
But no, I feel like once when it definitely comes to quarterback, they're the type to keep that quarterback and see how he gels out. So I actually think they do sign Danny Dimes, but as they can, just see what happened with Jalen Hurts and stuff like that, how the Eagles went out and got him a receiver to throw to, and like how these other teams are getting receivers for their quarterbacks to throw to. They need to go out and get Daniel Jones some receiver course, some receiver help, or like receiver depth or something. But they definitely need to go out and try to get like a DeAndre Hopkins, go out and sign him, or either just draft well in his upcoming draft. So I think they do need to go out and get another receiver. I think they do. I think they should keep Danny Dimes, and I think they should keep Saquon. So we'll see.
Honestly, I'm thinking if they're able to work out and do it Saquon, because I think he wants to be in New York.
Yeah.
But I mean, because I'm pretty sure, I think he's a restricted free agent. I don't think he's like, free to go anywhere. So it would have to, a team could offer him, but the Giants could match it. But I think they'll probably franchise Daniel Jones if they do believe in him. And it sounds like they do, and the players seem to believe in him for what that's worth. But I think like it should be a nice pick of, not maybe top caliber wide receiver ones, so to speak, in this offseason. But I think there should be a good, pool of receivers available. Like, I hope we're able to get him back, but I don't know if we'll be able to get back. McCole Hardman probably might end up leaving after this year. They could get a McCole not for like cheap, but they could not have to pay McCole Hardman a max, wide receiver deal. That'd be a nice, solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 right there, who can also play special teams. There's DeAndre Hopkins, who's, the Cardinals are apparently exploring trade talks. I don't know if the Giants will be interested, but I mean, that's a bona fide wide receiver 1 right there that could definitely help Daniel Jones. And it would kind of be like, when the Bills got Stephon Diggs for Josh Allen, and then you seen what Dayball was able to do with them. So they definitely got options. It'll be interesting to see, because I do want to see, now that Dayball showed such a drastic improvement in this first year with Daniel Jones, I would like to see him with some wide receiver talent. And I know they still got Sterling Shepard, but he's injured every year essentially, so can't really count on that. But I think if they did get him some talent, he would be able to make a little bit of noise here or there. It's still gonna be a tough division next year, but hey, it very well could be three teams from the NFC East go to the playoffs again, because that NFC is still looking really weak, and it's probably about to get weaker, because I would assume Packers already said if they trade Aaron Rodgers, they're trading him to the AFC. They're not trading him within the conference. But it's also up in the air. Brady leaves the conference too. He could, end up in like San Francisco. But if he ends up in Vegas or Miami, that's the AFC. So they could potentially lose 2 GOAT quarterbacks. And then you're really left with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy. I mean, or whoever the San Francisco quarterback is, we really don't know. It could be solidified if, 49ers go on to make the Super Bowl run. But if not, it could easily be Trey Lance again. But other than that, there ain't nobody to worry about in the NFC. We know who Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott are. We're not worried about them. Mm-hmm. There's no other NFC quarterbacks. So, yeah, I think they should franchise tag him at least this year, get him some help, and then, if it just doesn't work this year or next year, or you don't see, like any drastic improvement, then, you go from there. But yeah, I'm definitely for re-signing them. On the flip side, though, man, the Eagles, man, Jalen Hurts makes that team go, and he looked pretty healthy to me. Obviously, the Giants didn't put up much of a fight, so we didn't have to see him in any pressure situations. And he definitely got his plate full this weekend with the 49ers. But, boy, did they look good. Everybody was hitting on every cylinder. The only, I guess, bad thing you can say from the game is A.J. Brown was over there pouting on the sidelines, which I didn't understand, because, like, dude, you win in a divisional playoff game by 30 points versus a divisional rival. Like, just be happy. Like, just because you didn't have the game you wanted, like, you got to be happy for your team in that instance. But, yeah, man, that running attack, I mean, not even running attack. I'm interested to see the passing attack versus that 49ers secondary, because while the 49ers defense is good at all levels, their secondary is the weakest when you compare it to the D-line and linebackers. So I think, Jalen Hurts is also in line for a big contract this offseason. Now, people are saying like, oh, he can, if he wins a Super Bowl, he's guaranteed $200 million. But it's like, for me personally, I think he should be guaranteed a lot of money regardless of what happens this weekend, or if they make the Super Bowl and they don't win that. Like, I think he's earned it. And with all the moves, Howie Roseman made this offseason, that team is going to be together for at least the next 2-3 years. I don't see them move or going anywhere if, they're all able to stay healthy. And Jalen Hurts, he's definitely proved he's QB1. He's a franchise, man. So you think the Eagles, Cam already predicted, they're going to Super Bowl. And I'm pretty sure his playoff bracket is still perfect to this point right now. So you think the Eagles, like, they're for real? Because I know we were kind of worried about them the way they ended the season, of course, with the Jalen Hurts injury, and then that final game they didn't look too good against the Giants the Giants backups. But they just whooped the Giants from start to finish this weekend. So Did that cure any doubt you had in your mind about Philadelphia?
Any doubt. It cleared any doubt, man. These guys just came out and pretty much just put the whole league on warning. Like, I mean, we pretty much they were just saying like, hey, we nothing to play with. We're gonna come out here and we're gonna smack these guys in their face. Disrespect from first half to second half. I mean, first quarter to second quarter, third quarter, it was just a flat out fly equals fly. So I mean, man, these guys are good, man. And like they got Jalen Hurts on there. He's probably about like 85% healthy, 90% healthy, maybe. So he's not even fully healthy. And he got these guys out here humming. So I can't wait to see that matchup versus them versus the 49ers. It's gonna be very exciting, I feel like.
Yeah, no, these two conference game matchups, these should be some really good games, and there's some really good storylines behind all of them. Think they said this is a record for the youngest QBs ever, like the 4 QBs in conference championship weekend. This is the youngest it's ever been. Mahomes 27, Burrow 26, Hurts is 24. Think Purdy is either 24 or 23. So obviously, the league, if you're not young and mobile as a quarterback, it's not your time anymore, clearly. And I'm excited to just see this moving forward. Like this, it's gonna be some exciting football just for the future to come. The league is in great hands everywhere, and there's so much young quarterback talent. But yeah, man. Speaking of young quarterback talent, next game, Cincinnati versus Buffalo. Now, I told y'all this is one of my picks. Cincinnati started off at plus 4.5, then it moved to plus 5.5, and right before game time, it ended at plus 6. I bet all 3 of them. I'm mad because I still should have bet with my gut because I knew, like in my heart, I was like, Buffalo's gonna lose this game. So if they gonna make Cincy this big of an underdog, I should just bet them ML too. But I didn't, and I'm mad I didn't because that would have been even more money. Now they whooped Buffalo from start to finish in Buffalo Stadium. And what did I say way back in the beginning of the year when we first started this stuff? Like, rarely, never, the favorite to start off the year never wins this actual Super Bowl. Like, it just is what it is. And the Bills hype was too crazy from the jump. Like, ever since that divisional round game last year when they lost to my Chiefs in overtime, they just got so much credit. And I was like, for what reason? Like, oh, they've been crowned Super Bowl champs preseason. Josh Allen is the undisputed MVP. Like, they can do no wrong. Like, this team is untouchable. Then, of course, the first week of the season, they played Thursday night versus the defending Super Bowl champ Rams, who at the time we didn't know would be this horrible. But, I mean, look at what they did this year. So, in hindsight, was that great of a victory? No, not really. But they whooped up on the Rams, and that sent media even more into like, oh, this is for sure a lock. Like, I think I sent you the graphic the other day. All of the NFL Network analysts picked the Bills over somebody to win the Super Bowl. Like, they all picked the Bills across the board that they were going to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, like I said, the Vegas favorite, everybody's favorite to win MVP. Like, oh, Allen's the best young quarterback in the league. Like, I don't know when he took that mantle from Patrick Mahomes, but okay. And they started off the year good. Then they went into a slump and they were kind of getting together. And even though they were winning this last month, if you watch their games, it did not look good. Like, something was off. They couldn't run the ball. Allen's accuracy was off. He was turning the ball over. Defense, while I think they finished as a top 3 defense, but even the defense just looked off. And then obviously, they lost Von Miller midway through. And so that hurt their pass rush. There was no chance. And I don't know how they ended up a 6-point favorite over Cincy before the game started. But with that, Joe Burrow definitely solidified his spot as the number 2 QB. And I think that should be no argument. And now the Bills, they're kind of in cap hell to start off next season. I think they're already 240 mil cap used up for this next season, which is already like 3 mil over the current cap. We'll see what it is when the new numbers come out. But this year, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs cap hit together was, I think, 16 mil combined. Next year, that goes to 61. I want to say Von Miller's cap hit is like 40 some mil next year alone because they gave him that fat contract. He's a 30, like I get it. It's Von Miller, future Hall of Fame, 2-time Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, like list goes on and on. But to pay him the contract they did as a 33-year-old, and now he's got to return from an ACL injury. While I think he can do it, history would say that's not likely given his age. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But they still don't have a line. They still don't have a running back. Still don't have a solidified wide receiver too. And all their cap space is tied up. And their top 3 players, really. So while people thought the Buffalo Bills, top the Chiefs and be the AFC, champion and go on to win for years to come, it's not looking like they could potentially, at least this run, it might be over with. And I'll add one more stat to that. In NFL history, when a quarterback and coach combo doesn't win a Super Bowl within the first 5 years of them being together, they never win one whatsoever. So either quarterback ends up getting traded away or coach ends up getting fired. But if they don't win in the first 5 years, nobody's ever won since that. You want to know the 2 quarterback coach combos that reached their 5th year together this year? Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh. And even though they say Lamar's coming back, I'm still not certain. He might not want to be back after everything that went down this season. And Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. Josh Allen's not going nowhere. Sean McDermott won't go anywhere this season. But if they don't, make the Super Bowl next year, Sean McDermott is probably out.
Yeah.
And he was out of the 8 divisional teams, he was the one defensive-minded coach left. And this is now the 3rd year in a row the Bills have been knocked out of the playoffs, and their defense is giving up. Well, they didn't give up 30 points this weekend, but the 2020 season, we beat them 38-15 in the AFC Championship. Last year, we put up 42. This year, Bengals only put up 27, but if you watch the game, they whooped that defense all game, and they probably could have had 40 if they really felt like it in the snow in Buffalo. So, yeah, man. Buffalo, Bills Mafia. I don't know if we have any Bills Mafia listeners that listen to this, but man, karma's bitch. I did all that smack talking all year, especially after week 6 when they beat us. They were going crazy like, oh, we're hosting the AFC Championship this year. It's going to come through Buffalo. Josh Allen's the MVP. He's a better quarterback, this, that, and the third, and fall right on their face as usual. That franchise, they're perpetual losers at this point. 4 Super Bowl losses in a row. This is the first year y'all really confident, oh, we're going to make it back to Super Bowl and win it, even though you've never done that before. And to fall short in the divisional round for a 2nd year in a row. And like that meme says, Stephon Diggs stood on the field after the AFC Championship, and he's been standing there ever since, man. So, hey, how you think the Bills even bounce back from this, or you think this could potentially be the end of at least this rendition of the Bills that we know? Obviously, Josh Allen gonna be there, but as for anybody else, because even Stephon Diggs, you've seen how frustrated he was during that game and afterwards on Twitter, and apparently he rushed out the stadium and had to be brought back into the locker room so he could hear the coach's, final speech. But you think the Bills might be in trouble?
I think they definitely in trouble a little bit. I say this group will stay around for probably about another year or 2, and I think I can just I can see like a few pieces falling apart, as in the head coach and maybe even like the GM or somebody like that. But I think they'll definitely keep Josh Allen on the squad for sure, and they'll keep Diggs around for a couple more years. But like you said, they at Cap Hill, so they can't really, go out and sign anybody. They might be able to trade some pieces for somebody. I'm not too really sure, but man, they better really hope that they can draft well. That's
They're gonna
all.
have to because Hoyer's probably gone. He's gonna be a free agent.
Yeah.
Probably don't have the money to pay him, and he'll probably get a nice chunk of change from somebody. Like I said, they still don't have a running back. Honestly, if Saquon doesn't, you know, sign sign with New York, being that Dayball did just leave from there, I could see New York possibly working out a deal to send him to Buffalo. That would be a step forward, obviously. But then you're gonna have to pay Saquon as well. Let's see, Micah Hyde. He's probably gonna be back, but he's been injured the last 2-3 years. Don't really know what you can get from there. Tremaine Edmonds, his rookie contract is up. Like I said, the cap hits with Allen and Diggs. And it's funny because Brandon Beane was talking about cap hits. And, like the Bengals had the fortunate, case of all their good players being on rookie deals, which is true. But at the same time, Brandon Beane did trade for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
And the pick they traded to Minnesota took Justin Jefferson. So, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020, but I'm just saying,
come on. Yeah.
You built this team. You could have done it other ways, and you could have been in a similar situation in Cincinnati. Imagine Justin Jefferson, like Stephon Diggs, obviously he's really pretty much the only reason, we even look at Josh Allen the way we look at him right now, because he didn't look good his first couple years. But they got him Stephon Diggs, and he's obviously taken off. I mean, imagine Justin Jefferson with Josh Allen as well. Literally. So it's definitely, they got a lot to figure out this offseason. On the flip side, man, who they? Cincinnati, man. The Reapers of the NFL. The big dogs of the AFC. They got the bragging right for it right now. I can't even lie. They're 3-0 versus my Chiefs and Mahomes, and now they're 1-0 versus Josh Allen. They literally beat everybody. Like I said, Lou Anarumo not getting enough credit. That defense is really good, not. And people don't talk about it enough. It's funny enough, while Joe Burrow played an amazing game, or not even, he didn't even play, he played a good game. He was only 23 for 36 with 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's it. And that moved his playoff record to now 5-1. Did you know in all 6 of those playoff games, Joe Burrow and the offense have not scored a single touchdown in the fourth quarter? So that just kind of highlights the fact how good their defense plays, and especially in the second half of game, for them to not score a fourth quarter touchdown, yet they're still winning games and made it to the Super Bowl last year, and we're in that game. Like, that Cincy defense is good. And Joe Burrow, this was his first, I'd say, really good playoff game where he just looked flawless. And he moved them down the field with ease, and he was making good throws and getting out of pressure when it did, come about. But, yeah, man, Cincy is a really complete team. They got the best wide receiver core in the league. Got a great running back group with Mixon and Piron, and then that defense, Hubbard, Hilton, Bates. Like, they got defense on all 3 levels too. And then to top it all off, when they win, you're gonna have to hear Eli Apple tweet away and talk all the shit he wants to, man. So I'm hoping my Chiefs shut him up this weekend, but like I said, we gotta prove that we can beat him, because we ain't done that, man. And Cincy, this is like, they need to win the Super Bowl this year. Like, while people keep saying, my Chiefs need to, when you look at it, the Chiefs really, we're not in a rebuild year, clearly, but like, this was technically a rebuild year. We got rid of Tyreek, got a bunch of draft picks. We started 6 rookies on defense all year. This year wasn't supposed to end up like it is. But Cincy, on the other hand, they're going into their final year where they got most of their talent group on a rookie deal. Bates is probably gone in the offseason because they couldn't come to terms on a long-term deal this year. Burrow's going to get paid. What he gets paid, I don't know. Will he, do the Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes route, take a team-friendly deal? Something tells me he probably will, but he's still going to get a nice chunk of change. You're going to have to pay Jamar Chase as well. And then that leaves like, hey, what do we do with T. Higgins, who's going to be garnering wide receiver 1 contracts from probably all the other NFL teams, in the league because he's that good himself. And then defense, you're gonna lose pieces just because you have to pay all them. So they gotta win now, I feel like, because they lost the Super Bowl last year. If they beat us and then make it back this year and then still don't win the Super Bowl, that really stings. But this is like the iron is hot right now. Like I said, the whole coach quarterback combo within 5 years, and then also most franchises win their Super Bowls when their quarterback is still on the rookie deal because they have money to spend on the rest of the team. They've spent money on the rest of the team. They got to get it done now, man. So, how you feel about the Bengals? Because a lot of people have been sleeping on them, but I mean, at this point now, it's overdue. But it seems like they're finally getting the respect they deserve, and that's a cold ass team, offense and defense.
Yeah. I was surprised, seeing a lot of people sleep on the Bengals for some reason, because like you were saying, Bengals are a good ass team. They got a good defense. Got one of the best offenses in the whole entire league. So, I wasn't really I really wasn't like understanding why people was taking the Bills, Josh Allen, they're better than the Bengals, they're better than the Chiefs like that. I really wasn't buying it. Like I said, that Bengals offense is just too good, and that Bengals defense, they for some reason once it comes to playoffs, they just even not even the playoffs, even like regular season, they just up their game, man. And it's crazy to see that a guy like Eli Apple, he can just he can hide in the defense or whatever and still talk his mess. I don't know how much he be helping them, but I don't know. It's just crazy to see. Obviously this Bengals team not gonna stay together. Definitely on the offensive side. They got some guys that's probably gonna walk away. Higgins definitely gonna walk away. But I think that they draft too well for them to just be like, not necessarily like after this be irrelevant. I think they'll still be relevant because they still got obviously Joe and they'll play Chase, but I think they just draft kind of well, and they'll still be like that relevant team out in in the FC, like one of the top dogs. So I can't wait to see how everything plays out, because like you said, with Higgins, I definitely do think Higgins, he gonna walk. Someone definitely gonna pay him max deal. Shit, goddamn. I hope my Texans can do goddamn.
Man, if y'all can get this QB pick right,
literally, bro.
And man, because I don't think Higgins' rookie deal is up this year, but I think it's up next year. But I mean, if they want to have extension talks and then they kind of come to terms, like, because I can't think of his name, but Cincinnati's GM is notoriously known for being pretty cheap. So that's the other thing that's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, because he don't like to pay people, but obviously you have to pay Burrow first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay Chase. If, they come to the table and like, well, we're not going to be able to extend you for a long-term deal. Let's think about, trade partners. Man, Texas got some talent, got some picks. They could make a trade, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see, obviously, how this season plays out. And then you also have the fact maybe we're all just, misthinking, and maybe Jamar T one of them will be like, no, I want to take less.
That'd be crazy.
And we don't really see that because it's a league where like players trying to get their money, like
yeah,
and they deserve it. But who knows? Maybe they do. Like, okay, let me take a 1 year, 2 year deal because like the window is now. Even though Joe Burrow said the window is his whole career, but the best window is this window right now
Yeah,
on this
it
rookie
really
deal.
is.
So yeah, man, that could be something. T. Higgins and a Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud with
Man,
Mechie. Man, watch
I
out.
see.
Now, will Houston do this? Probably not, because
Probably not.
because McNair loves going against his best interest for whatever reason. So
For
I
sure.
doubt that happens, but something to keep an eye out for sure, man. But I'm gonna swing it to you for the last game to start this one off, because this one's funny, man. Cowboys 49ers. Me and Kim went to watch this game, went out to eat, and we were in a restaurant full of Cowboys fans. And by the end of the game, the restaurant was half empty, and the half that did stay were all deflated after cheering their hearts out the whole time, man. But go ahead and talk about it. The elephant in the room, which is not no elephant no more, man. The guy Dak Prescott. What I really, if I'm not going to because I don't feel like it. But if y'all listen to the last episode, I literally called it. I was like, whichever quarterback in this game, because people were saying, Brock Purdy's rookie, he's due to, turn the ball over, have a bad game. But I was like, Dak Prescott, even though he had a great game versus Tampa Bay, they're a bad team. And he plays really well versus bad team. Whichever quarterback has 2 turnovers or more in this game, those 2 turnovers are going to lose them the game. And sure enough, Dak right on cue. 2 turnovers. Cowboys lose the game. And if he doesn't give them those 2 turnovers, Dallas probably wins.
Yeah, they probably will.
So yeah, man, talk about Dak Prescott. Why you believe Cooper Rush would have won that game? Yeah, he texted that in the group chat. I don't believe that much. But go ahead and explain why that's your thinking.
Watching this game, man, it was just a horrible, horrible performance from Dak Prescott. Probably one of the worst quarterback performances I didn't seen, in a while. I mean, he was just awful at this game, at all, just making bad reads, bad passes, both those picks, one coming in close to the red zone, whatever. It's like that. Why even force it? Why even just throw the ball right there? But it just really goes to show you that this guy was never a top 10 quarterback in his league. Me personally, I believe that. I know some other guys don't believe that. But he should be getting paid all this money, man. He needs to what's called need his deal to be looked at so he can
Oh yeah, restructured. Yeah, definitely.
restructure, definitely to restructure his deal or whatever. You know it was a horrible game. It was a good game from CD. CD had a good game. He had a couple good catches. Schultz had that that TD at the beginning or whatever, but had some boneheaded moves there at the end that kind of cost him some time and field position. But man, this window for the Cowboys is very, very close and kind of quickly for them. Dak not getting any younger. He's on a long-term deal, so you gotta see what you want to do with him. Or hey Jerry, what you gonna do with Mike McCarthy? I mean, Sean Payton out there, and that I feel like that instantly. If you in win mode now, you'll try to get Sean Payton. I feel like, and give up whatever picks that the Saints want to get Sean Payton. I'll do that because maybe I want to see Dak in another system with this is another system, but with a different another head coach that's more offensively minded, Sean Payton is a better offensive minded than Mike McCarthy is. So yeah, I would like to see Sean Payton with Dak and Dak with Sean Payton. See how that folds out, but I doubt Jerry does that. It's very too cheap. They'll keep McCarthy for another year or two. The same thing will happen. I mean, Dak might come back next year on fire. After seeing what everybody had to say about him, he might come out hot and gunning and whatever about that. But the same thing is gonna happen over again. Cowboys fans gonna get their hopes up. Dak gonna have another trash game because he's mediocre. He's another Kirk Cousins. He's a white man. He's the black version of a Kirk Cousins. Simple as that. Simple as that. He's a mediocre, average quarterback. Me personally, like I said in the group message, I think Cooper Rush would have won this game. Call me crazy, whatever. Yeah, I know. But I think he would have won this game. He would have definitely been more conservative than what Dak was. Because he knows I feel like Cooper Rush knows his abilities and like throwing wise. He's like, okay, like, Patrick Mahomes can make that throw. Justin Herbert can make that throw. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, whoever, they can make that throw. Me, I can't make that throw in that tight window right there. So let me just go ahead and check it down to like a Zeke or a Pollard or Schultz that's sitting right there. Dak in his mind, I feel like, I can, I'm a franchise quarterback. I can make that throw right there. Boom, I'm still young. I can make that throw. And it gets picks off. So I think, like I said, Cooper Rush would have won that game. But hey, who am I? I'm nobody. So yeah, I think we'll see. I think we'll see the Cowboys again, but I don't see them really going anywhere. But
if they're gonna keep McCarthy, yeah, I don't see him going anywhere. I think I saw earlier today. I gotta check and confirm, but in one post I saw that Dan Quinn said he's telling teams he's interviewing with that he's committed. He's gonna go back to the Cowboys. He doesn't want to take a head coaching job. But then in the same span of scrolling Twitter, I also saw that he's got an interview on Saturday with the Colts. So I don't know what he's gonna do, but if he does return, and Jerry Jones says, because he's not getting any younger. I think he's like 81 now or something. Before he dies, he wants to see his Cowboys win one more Super Bowl. If that's the case, and you're keeping Dan Quinn to keep that defense together and how they're playing, you got to go get Sean Payton, I feel like, and fire McCarthy. Sure, McCarthy lets Jerry do what he wants to do, let Jerry have the spotlight, call the shots, and that's what Jerry liked, which is probably the reason why he won't hire Sean Payton. But if he's for real about trying to win, get Sean Payton so that way you can have an offensive guru, like you said, for Dak Prescott, see if that can make any improvement. And if it doesn't, then you can either try to trade for a better quarterback or, try to go young, try to find somebody and build up, and Sean Payton can get his hands on him from the jump. But yeah, McCarthy, he probably needs to go really based off him, and Kellen Moore needs to go based off not even just the last play of the game, but this is now 2 years in a row. The Cowboys did not even have an opportunity to attempt the Hail Mary versus the 49ers. We know it's highly unlikely they're going to convert a Hail Mary to win the game. But this last year, they do the stupid QB sneak draw and run out of time. They don't clock the ball fast enough.
Yeah. This
year, they're on the 20 with 45 seconds left, and they don't even make it into range to throw a Hail Mary. And that's Dalton Schultz's fault for being stupid and not getting his feet down, and then also not going out of bounds the first time and getting forced out, so the clock keeps running. But then to draw up that last play, 49ers call timeout. You go back to total and say, no, this is it. We're running that play. And it's some dumb shit that you done seen the Colts try way back when in that game versus New England, I think, where that got completely blown up and people were kind of like, what the hell was that? Put Zeke at center, get Zeke blown up, put the offensive linemen out there to block. They don't block anybody. And Dak Prescott doesn't even throw a good enough ball to the fact where Turpin had to jump to go get it. So by the time he even came down, he was getting smacked. And that's how the game ends. That's unacceptable. And for that, he should really be fired. But if he's serious about winning, he gotta get rid of McCarthy, go get Sean Payton. And like you said, man, Dak, like I said last week, he deserved all the credit in the world for how he played versus Tampa Bay. And obviously, I thought Tom Brady Tom Brady fashion would win the game, but the Tampa Bay team was bad. So, well, yes, props to the Cowboys for whooping up on them. They were a bad team. And that's usually what the Cowboys do is they whoop up on bad teams. I'll give them that. But good teams, they still have not proven to us that they can beat them. Someone told me this weekend, like, it'll be the same, especially now since they got over the hump that they thought was going to be Tom Brady. And next thing you know, now all the Cowboys nation really, truly believes, like, oh, this is our Super Bowl year. Like, they get their hopes up. And like Stephen A says, what can go wrong will go wrong. And right back down the drain, hopes and dreams gone. And it's like, you just knew Dak was going to do something stupid to give the 49ers the game. First interception gives the 49ers the ball in their own territory. Defense holds, they kick a field goal, but that's still 3 points off a turnover. Second turnover, they're driving late at the first half. It's 9-9. They can either take the lead 12-9, because while Maher couldn't make an extra point, he could make a regular field goal. So at the very worst, you're probably going into the halftime up 12-9 because you're in field goal range. But you could score a touchdown. Instead, on a second down, Dak tries to force it into CD, who's clearly double covered. Ball should have been intercepted by Jimmy Ward, but it gets deflected off him, ends up in Fred Warner's hands, and then the San Francisco is able to go down before the half, and they get a field goal of their own. So now, I'm sorry, it wasn't even 9. It was 9-6. The Cowboys were up. They could have been up even more. Instead, they go to halftime tied because they get a field goal off of that. And it's just like, you cannot make those plays as a franchise quarterback. Yeah. Supposed to be a top 10 quarterback. You just can't do that. And it's the reason Dak led the league in interceptions, even though he missed 4 or 5 games with that injury. Like, it just is what it is. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. Like, this ain't even no hate, but it's just like, yeah, you're not going to win with Dak. Now, where do you go from there? I don't think, like, with their situation, they can't really do anything, which is why I think they need to go the Sean Payton route and see if he can get anything more out of that. But with McCarthy, we've seen all we're going to see with Dak Prescott. He's not going to be able to lead them to championship with Mike McCarthy as a head coach, and especially Kellen Moore as an offensive play caller. Because while Dak is, yes, played bad, Kellen Moore also deserves a lot of blame because them play calls he's calling are god-awful. There's no creativity, no pre-snap motion. They're not even rolling Dak out off of play action when that's literally his best statistical, like, passer rating comes from those type plays, and they barely do it. And on top of that, Pollard gets injured. Now, he should be back healthy coming into next season, but it's not a given, obviously. Zeke probably needs to restructure his deal. He said he's open to doing that. I think that probably gets done because Jerry seems to like Zeke, even though they could probably move off of him and just clear that cap space. But yeah, Dallas, this was probably the best year you were going to have. And, a year where Tom Brady was off. You're able to. Kirk Cousins was the second or third place team in the NFC. Like, who knows when that's going to be the case again. The 49ers, while they're playing great football, they're on a third string quarterback who was also the last pick in the draft. And you got your division rivals over in Philly. Like, this was their best opportunity to win, I think. And Dak completely fumbled the bag. It is what it is. Ain't no way to sugarcoat it. Ain't no way to beat around it, man. And with that, we have the 49ers and the Eagles in the NFC Championship. And we have the Chiefs and the Bengals in the AFC Championship, man. So we're here, Conference Championship week. Eagles and 49ers got the first game at 2:30. Cincy and Chiefs got the game at 5. Let's talk about this 49ers Eagles game, man. This one, I don't know. Like I said earlier, these are the 2 best rosters in the league completely, without a doubt. And yeah, Brock Purdy should, like we keep saying, like he should have a game that shows he's a rookie sooner or later. That could be this game, but at the same time, it might not be this game because Shanahan is one of the best play callers in the league, and he can protect him from a lot. On the flip side, this Eagles offense is the number one scoring offense, number one yards offense, and the 49er defense is the number one yard, number one scoring defense. So something's got to give. I think they can find success by running it at Bosa and putting him in the RPO game with Jalen Hurts. But then, we didn't have to see Jalen Hurts do that much versus the Giants. So they say he's healthy, but if, Nick Bosa or Fred Warner gets a good shot on him, is he truly healthy? And like I said, I think they need to attack their secondary. A.J. Brown can kill Charvarius Ward. The Cowboys, if Kellen Moore was smart, he would manipulate formations to put CD wherever Charvarius Ward was and throw at him all game. But he didn't do that. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure. Lincoln Financial Field is going to be rocking in Philly.
For sure.
All the stars coming out for this one.
For sure.
Bill, Will Smith, Kevin Hart, all of them. They playing Dreams and Nightmare off rip out the tunnel. It's going to be lit. And I think they're going to come out ready. It's going to be interesting to see if San Francisco is able to, smack them in the mouth a little bit, kind of offset some of that initial momentum. But I think the line is at 3.5 for the Eagles, over under 46.5, if I'm not mistaken. How you think this one plays out? You think Philly's headed to the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, or is Brock Purdy inevitable? People have been saying Joe Burrow the next Tom Brady. I've also been seeing some headlines that say, "Wow, is Brock Purdy the next Tom Brady?"
That's
the way
funny.
He's came into the league in the situation. So,
nah, man, I think I'm gonna stick with my choice on the bracket. I'm gonna go with the Eagles, man. I think the Eagles get it. I think the Eagles get it done. I think they're just the best team in the league right now. They're playing phenomenal football. I believe I said once it comes to this conference championship game, it's going to be an AJ Brown type game. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very, very big AJ Brown game. I think he can bust open for a lot of yards. I think he might grab a touchdown or two. I would say just maybe a touchdown or two. I ain't gonna put which number on it. But I think he do go for a lot of yards this game. It's gonna be very hard for them to find like a consistent run game, but I think they'll find like something going like in the second half of the run game. But I think they'll mostly get the job done by throwing the ball. So I think Hurts ready for this moment. I think he's gonna take over, and I think they'll get the dub versus the 49ers. This might be we might finally see a Brock Purdy type game. Maybe this is the game where
saying it.
We keep saying it. We got to keep saying it. Man's defense on the Eagles, they're fucking good too. So I think we'll see some Brock Purdy turnovers, but like you said, we keep saying it, so who knows? Time will tell. We'll see, man.
See, yeah. Kind of took the words right out of my mouth because I was gonna say I can't really call the game, but even though I didn't agree with him pouting, I thought AJ Brown would bounce back this week. So I was thinking of betting his props. He's over 70.5 receiving yards, over his -130 odds, and then over 4.5 receptions is pretty steep. It's -165. But yeah, man, the line is moved. It started off at 3.5. Well, it might not have. It might have been just 3 even because Philly's the home seed, but it's now -2.5, over under 46.5. You think? I know you're not picking it, but you think Philly covers? You think San Francisco covers? How you think? What do you think the final score of this game is?
I think Philly covers. I think the final score of this game will be something like, I would say something like 27 to like 27 to like 20 or 27 to like 21 type game, or around that around that range.
I can
Philly,
give that.
I got Philly 27, 21, 20-ish.
No, I like that. I like that. Because I actually have a teaser, and so I think Philly. I think my gut's telling me Philly will find a way to pull this one out. Um, I took San Francisco, and the teaser is a 7-point teaser, so I got them at +9. I want to say. Hold up, I'm gonna pull it up. But I also got the under. It pushed it to under 54. So I was thinking like a 21-17, 24-20 type game with Philly pulling it out. But like I said, I'm not gonna bet on the game straight up because I really don't know. And while we could see a Brock Purdy game, it's also gonna be interesting. Like Jalen Hurts is proven, he's that guy, and the team obviously responds to him. But it's also gonna be interesting to see him versus a top defense because we really haven't seen that either. We seen him play Dallas earlier in the season, and he had an okay game, but Philadelphia's defense turned over Cooper Rush a lot. So we'll see if Jalen Hurts. I think, like, I'm up with you. I think he's gonna respond to the challenge. I think he's gonna ball out, but he still got to go out there and do it. And when you got Nick Bosa probably breathing down your back, and Fred Warner probably playing a spy, we're gonna see. And they say he's healthy, but like that's still a question mark. We're gonna see like if that dual threat in him can really prevail versus that San Francisco defense, because that's a nasty defense. But on the same token, that's also a nasty Philly defense, so they could definitely give Brock Purdy a lot of problems. It's just so much talent on that field from both them teams. It's gonna be such an exciting game to watch for sure. And now that I got my thing pulled up, I can look at it. Let's see. Yeah, San Francisco plus 10.5. And then the game under 54.5. And then this is a teaser with, I'll get into my next picks. It has the Chiefs Bengals stuff as well. So on to the Chiefs Bengals. This one's really weird because everything, the Bengals, the fact they've beaten us 3 times and they looked really good, just blew out Buffalo in Buffalo. Then couple that with the Mahomes injury to his ankle. The line started out at 2.5 Chiefs. By the next day, I think it was Monday morning, the line had gone all the way to a pick'em. By Tuesday, it was -2.5 Bengals. Then people have gotten this footage now because we didn't start practice till Wednesday, which was yesterday. Once people saw the footage of Mahomes, I'm guessing they went back and then put money on the Chiefs because now the line it went back even, and now we're back to 1-point favorites. So this is probably the most I've ever seen a line move within a span of a week and really just a couple days. So it's going to be interesting. But while I will say the Bengals obviously deserve a lot of respect, and they should be favored, in my opinion, because they beat us so many times and we got to prove it. I want to touch on earlier this week, Dan Orlovsky came out and said, and it sparked, talks across all media outlets and sports shows. And he said, wow, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the league, the most talent. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback. And so that it doesn't even make sense. Like, I get what he's trying to say, but it still doesn't make sense because Patrick Mahomes literally plays quarterback. But whatever. Then, of course, the narrative became, well, if the Bengals win this week and, Burrow now moves to 4-0 over Mahomes, is Burrow the best quarterback in the league? No. That's not how this works. Literally, if they beat us again, it means the Bengals are really, they've already beat us 3 times, so you can already say that. It means the Bengals are a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what it means. Because Joe Burrow is going up against our defense, not going up against Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes going up against the Cincy defense, who's really good, as we've discussed. But it doesn't negate the fact that Mahomes, he's got an MVP. He's got a Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner. He's been to another Super Bowl, which the film, they posted highlights today of that Super Bowl that we lost. where he still played amazing, just got sold by the rest of the team and the receivers who couldn't catch a ball all game. But you seen the shit he was doing while running for his life on a broken toe that we didn't know about at that time. He's got a 50 touchdown, 5,000 yard season. Only 2 other players do that. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Like I said, next week this time, it probably won't be unanimous because one person I'm sure will vote for Jalen Hurts to screw it up. But he's going to win his second MVP, all at the age of 27. Say he is able to beat the Bengals and we are able to go on and win the Super Bowl. He then becomes the 4th quarterback to have multiple MVPs and multiple Super Bowls. Those quarterbacks that done that, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning. Like I said, this is Mahomes' 6th season. You want to know when Brady did it? His 11th. When Joe Montana finally had multiple MVPs and multiple Super Bowls, I want to say it's his 9th. Peyton Manning, his 18th and final season, because that's when he won his 2nd Super Bowl. So if Patrick Mahomes does this, I get he might not reach 7 Super Bowls like Brady, but he will literally be doing something nobody has ever done at the youngest age ever if he's able to pull this off. And it adds even more to the story with the ankle injury now. But we're not about to sit up here and act like Mahomes didn't just lead the league in every statistical passing category with what many people were saying the start of the season was a middle-of-the-pack wide receiver group. And Joe Burrow still didn't put up as good of numbers with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, all of them this season. So while, yes, he's cool, calm and collected, he can dissect the defense, he can, read the defense great pre-snap. Even if they win this game, that doesn't make Joe Burrow a better quarterback. Bengals are just the better team. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. No argument. Like I said this a couple weeks ago. Literally, I've never seen someone excuse me, who doesn't really give a reason for media to hate him. People hate him because a lot of people love him, but it's obvious why we love him. Like, he's fucking great. It just is what it is. But Patrick Mahomes doesn't do anything like himself to deserve any criticism. But it's amazing how much he gets for everything he does. I said it from the beginning of the year. It started off with somehow Josh Allen outplayed him last year in the game where he led his team with 13 seconds versus the number 1 defense in Buffalo to a victory in overtime and got a field goal with, the 13 seconds left. Coming into this offseason, all of a sudden, since Josh Allen outplayed him, Josh Allen is the best young quarterback, and the Bills are the favorite. Then, when Josh Allen went through his slump, it was, okay, well, Mahomes is probably the MVP now. But then, oh, wait, the Eagles are undefeated. And, yes, Jalen Hurts had an amazing season. But even when you stacked up Jalen Hurts' rushing and passing numbers, bless you, he still didn't eclipse Patrick Mahomes' throwing numbers, like, alone. Then when you added Patrick Mahomes' rushing stuff, it just put him way over the top. People said, oh, well, no, it's got to be Jalen Hurts. Even for a week or two, they tried to throw in Tua. When Tua came back from his injury, it's like, oh, well, I mean, they're really not losing when Tua starts. Then when Jalen Hurts got hurt, then it was like, maybe, should we think about Burrow being the MVP? Even though Patrick Mahomes threw 6 more touchdowns, the same amount of interceptions, better QBR, better passer rating. But no, we should think about Burrow for MVP, maybe, because, the Bengals are playing good football. And sure enough, Patrick Mahomes just keeps going, ends the year the most total yards by a quarterback in NFL history without his starting running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Granted, I'll say myself, Pacheco was the better running back. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire was our starter coming into the year. McCole Hardman hasn't played since week 9. We lost Juju for 2 games throughout there. We had a whole new wide receiving corps. Justin Watson, who was on the Buccaneers practice squad a year ago. MVS, who the Packers didn't even think was good enough to be wide receiver 3 anymore. Juju, who people said was wide receiver 2 and was only good with AB. and Sky Moore. And then, yeah, we got Kadarius Toney. He also came in, then missed some time. Like, cut the bullshit, man. Like, just give this man the credit he deserves. He's about to have 2 MVPs. Already has Super Bowl, like I said. Yes, we can still lose this game. And, Joe Burrow will get all the credit and love in the world. But since he could still then go and lose the Super Bowl, they still got to win. Like, yeah, they might have bracket rights over us if they win. But if they lose the Super Bowl, what are we talking about here? That makes Burrow 0-2 in the Super Bowl. And he still doesn't have MVP, a regular season MVP. Like, anybody can win a Super Bowl MVP if they're in the game, because you just have to have a good game. Mahomes is about to win his second regular season MVP. That means he's playing good for 17, 18 games in a season. Like, what are we really talking about here? And, like, Dan Orlovsky said, back to the point, like, oh, like, the best like Joe Burrow is the best quarterback playing quarterback. Like, the way he can dissect the defense and read a defense pre-snap, this, that, and the third. Okay, while he does at a high level, are we going to sit up here and say Patrick Mahomes doesn't? Because that was his criticism last year when he was in a slump. And, they were playing the too high shell coverage. It's like, oh, he's got to learn to take the check downs and find the open man pre-snap so he know where he go with the football. What did he come in and do this year? Exactly that. Threw for 50, 200 yards and 41 touchdowns. And now it's, oh, the Chiefs are loaded. We knew they would do this. No, you didn't. All offseason, it was Allen's better. Herbert's better in his own division. They're going to win the division for, I think they picked them for the 5th year in a row as preseason AFC West favorites. Joe Burrow, some people were saying that because he did beat them last year. And it's like, no, he came in with a new wide receiver group, won MVP. And then it's like, oh, y'all got talent. He's being a check down merchant. Like, no, he's taking what the defense gives him and he's killing them. Like, what more do y'all want? Like, we don't do this for any other player. We don't do this, especially for white QBs. Like, what are we really saying here? How come when it's a good black QB, it's always like, oh man, they just have athletic talent through the roof. But when it's a white QB, it's like, the way they can just dissect the defense and be methodical and just outsmart everybody. Like, what are we talking about? If Patrick Mahomes was doing all this and he wasn't smart and couldn't read the defense, granted, he did do that his first year because he couldn't. But now he's 5 years in, he clearly knows what he's doing. Like, he's the best player in the league. He's going to be number 1 on the NFL players list when that comes out. Going to be MVP. And if he can pull this game off this week and then pull off a Super Bowl, which is going to be versus a really good opponent in the 49ers or Eagles, whoever that is, I don't want to hear any more discussion. Like, we shouldn't have the discussion anymore, but if we're able to win a Super Bowl and Mahomes as another Super Bowl MVP, the discussion should be settled for the next 5 years. Because I guarantee you, in 5 years, these young quarterbacks people want to prop up next to him, they still won't match his resume within the next 5 years. So it's just real aggravating to see. And I know that pissed him off because I know he sees it. And I know the team's pissed off because, well, the Bengals have beat us 3 times, all 3 games. We've been leading by at least a touchdown, and we've given up the lead at the end, and we've lost by a field goal every time. Like I said, in the playoffs, the Bengals still haven't even scored a fourth quarter touchdown. I think my boys are going to be ready, man. I think they're going to be ready. But while I did just have this whole rant, when the game ended in Cincy and the lines came out that day for us, because I knew Patrick was hurt, I went and bet Cincy ML when it was pick'em. Then it moved to -2.5, and I was like, oh, that's a really good decision. But now, seeing Patrick come up, like, I think we're going to pull this game out and beat him finally and get that monkey off our back. But I do have Cincy ML. I'm not finna sit up here in front like I don't. I had him because I'm like, man, if we couldn't beat him before and now Patrick's ankle might be completely fucked off, I'm going to just pick them because at the very least, I'll be sad that my Chiefs lost, but I'll win some money.
Yeah.
But I hope this bet is wrong. It'll be the best wrong pick I've ever made if it's wrong. But I picked Cincy ML, but then in that teaser, like I said, I had the 49ers plus 10.5, under 54.5 for that game. I got the Chiefs plus 8 and the over 39.5. So that's the full teaser, 0.75 units on that. And I threw 1 unit on Cincy ML. But then also the player props just came out today. So I just added these. I kind of hinted at it earlier, but I think there's going to be an Isaiah Pacheco game.
Yeah.
He had 95 rushing yards in his first playoff game last week, which is the most in Chiefs history for a rookie in his first, or not a rookie, but a running back in his first playoff game.
Damn.
And so this week I'm betting on all his props. Over 11.5 rushing attempts, -115, half a unit. Longest rush over 12.5 yards through a quarter unit on that. Over 48.5 rushing yards through 1 unit on that. That's -125. And Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown score at +160. Another quarter unit on that. So 4 Pacheco plays for his props, man. I think he's gonna eat. And I just hope and pray to God that the Chiefs will actually feed the ball. And lucky enough, not lucky, but funny enough, because Mahomes' ankle, I think now the game plan this week, they've been forced to heavily include him and McKinnon, which should have been the game plan always when we play Cincy. Like I said, back in the regular season, we played him. But now I think that we're really going to be forced to use him. And I don't think Cincy's defense can stop our run game. Because even though we've lost, we've been averaging like 5.5 yards per carry with McKinnon or Pacheco. And McKinnon going back last year, if we would have just fed him in the AFC Championship, we win that game with ease. So definitely think this should be a Pacheco game. I might even sprinkle on McKinnon prop too after this. But while I did pick the Bengals, the way Patrick Mahomes' ankle looks on video, man, all the shit talking, the players, Cincy players calling it Burrowhead, even though they've only played us there once and they won. But come on now. I think Chiefs are going to be pissed off. I mean, if Travis Kelce doesn't fumble in the regular season, we probably win that one. And he's pissed off. He talked about it on his podcast. I think they're gonna be ready. And while I think it could be a close game, just saying, if you want to take a sprinkle at some plus odds, sprinkle us as a touchdown favorite. Just saying, when the spread has been less than 3.5 or less than 3 in a conference championship game, only like I think it's been that way like 11 times in history. 9 of those games have ended in blowouts where a team wins by a touchdown or more. So I'm just saying, while it could be a close game because that's usually how it goes with the Bengals, this could also be a game where, you know, we fired up and we come out the gate swinging, we blow them out. But if that's going to happen, we're going to have to play great defense and we're going to have to get to Joe Burrow. Chris Jones is going to have to get a playoff sack somehow, some way. But yeah, man, I'm fired up. I'm ready for Sunday to come. Great football. And I hope in the day we'll see my Chiefs get it done and go on to Super Bowl in Phoenix. But that's my little rant. I had already warned Cam beforehand. I had a lot to say, get on my chest because I've been listening to this shit all week with the Burrow Mahomes talk. But yeah, man, I'll pass it on to you. How do you think the AFC Championship plays out? You know, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a tough battle for my Chiefs. But how do you think we fare? And if they do win, what do you think that means for Joe Burrow?
If they do win?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say first of all, I think this game is gonna be a toss-up game. Just like the Eagles, I'm gonna stick with my pick. I got the Chiefs win this one, but I think it's a toss-up. You can either go either way. Because the Bengals showed that, you know, they're the best team in the AFC, and the Chiefs have showed that they're the best team in the AFC. So it's a toss-up, I feel like. You know, I told you this before, and I told, you know, guys in the group chat this. I mean, I've been repeating it. I don't know how you feel about this, but me personally, I think this is a legacy game for Patrick Mahomes. I feel like he has to come out here and he has to show, even though it shouldn't be like this, because we all know, like, you know, who's smart and stuff like that, that, you know, it's the eye test. We know that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league and stuff like that. But I feel like he has to come out here and really show everybody, like, no, like I'm Patrick Mahomes, like this is like this is why I'm the best in the league, and like he got to show us, and other people that I'm right here, and everybody else is just a little step behind, like it's different, like it's different levels to the shit. So I think it's a legacy game in that way, and also in a way that I'm gonna disagree with you, a little bit here, because I feel like if Joe Burrow do win this game, that it is time to have this conversation that okay, obviously me and that Patrick Mahomes is the best, whatever, this and that, best talent wise, whatever. But it's time to if Joe Burrow wins this game and goes to Super Bowl again and beating Patrick Mahomes a second time with an AFC Championship game, 4 times all together, and overall, if he beats him again, I think now it would be the time to like, okay, it's time to put him up there. Like it could be like a 1A or 1B type deal, or if someone has the argument of, oh, Joe Burrow should be better because he beat Patrick Mahomes this many times, but also Patrick Mahomes, guys, they can come back and say, well, Joe Burrow don't have this list of accolades like Patrick Mahomes has. But I definitely do think it would be you know something to think about or talk about if Joe Burrow do win this game, or the Bengals do win this game. Um, but like I said, man, it's gonna be a good game. We one hell of a game. I think the Chiefs comes out and win this game. Um, like I said before, say it again. This is a legacy game for Pat. I think he gets it done. Um, yeah, man. I can't wait till this game to start. It's gonna it's gonna be exciting. That injury, I mean, like I said, it didn't look good, but me and you, we've been seeing pictures and videos of Patrick Mahomes in the at practice and at the podium and stuff like that, walking down. He looks good. He looks fine. So I'm pretty sure, like you said, they're gonna shoot him with that medicine, whatever, that needle, whatever. They're gonna get his stuff going. That adrenaline gonna kick in, and I think he'll be all right. I think y'all finally, like you said, get that monkey off y'all back. I think y'all beat the Bengals, and I think y'all going to the Super Bowl. But if y'all don't, just be ready,
Yeah,
cause
I already know it's gonna come,
just be ready.
and it's it'll it's coming regardless if they lose. But for me personally, I just don't think it can even be a discussion still if the Bengals don't win the Super Bowl. If they win the Super Bowl, assume Joe Burrow will probably get Super Bowl MVP. Then it's a real discussion because while he doesn't have the regular season stats and all that Mahomes has, he now has Super Bowl, now has Super Bowl MVP, and they're even on that level, and he's beat him. So now it's like, okay, we could talk about it. But if they win and then they go on to lose Super Bowl, for me, it's like Cincy is just the better football team, but Patrick Mahomes is still the better quarterback because he's still doing more with less right now. Like, granted, obviously we had Tyreek Hill in years past, but this year we didn't, and everybody just assumed like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is gonna fall off, and Chiefs aren't people. There were really people, even though I think it's partially just for clickbait too, to try to get views. People were dead ass saying the Chiefs wouldn't even make the playoffs. And now that we're here, people are just acting like, oh yeah, we expected this. Like, y'all really didn't.
Yeah.
But every time Mahomes does something great, y'all try to act like it's normal. And it's like the shit he's doing is not normal. And I agree with you. It is a legacy game, but it's really just for me, it's not a legacy game, it's a legacy journey. Because if he's able to win this one, get the Bengals monkey off his back with the ankle injury, then he's able to go to the Super Bowl. And if we play the 49ers, beat them for a second time when they got the best defense, or beat Philly when they've been good all year. And I said, like, he then becomes the fourth quarterback or fourth player with multiple MVPs and multiple Super Bowls, but he's done it in his sixth season, all at the age of 27. Then it's like, even though in my mind, with the second MVP, he's already solidified first ballot Hall of Fame. But if he does all that in this year, then it's no question. Like, he's had the greatest start to a career ever. Granted, I know Brady got 3 Super Bowl rings, but Brady didn't get his first MVP until 2008.
Yeah.
Brady was not considered the best quarterback whatsoever when they were in the Super Bowls. It was on the defense. Then Brady went 10 years. 2008 was included in that mix, but Brady went 10 years without winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And people just seem to forget that. He came back, and that's the last part of his career. That last stint with New England is when they had their second dynasty, so to speak, and they started winning again. And then, of course, he goes to Tampa Bay and wins. But there was a 10-year period where Brady wasn't winning Super Bowls. And Manning has not the all-time, but Manning is 3-1 against him in the conference championship games. So, like, there's, caveats to every stat that people want to throw out there, but it will be undisputed if we win the Super Bowl this year and Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP, like 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 regular season MVPs with all the stats, because he's breaking every record for his age. Like, each age he goes, he breaks some record for being the youngest to do this. And now, like, people even try to discredit and throw Herbert in there and give Herbert the record. Like, first 3 seasons, Herbert's done this, because they count Patrick Mahomes' rookie season against him. But everybody else knows the deal. So, yeah, it's legacy for sure. Like you said, I just want Sunday to be here, watch some great football, and then we're the final game to end it off, man. Obviously, I want us to win. And if we can win, that's going to make it an amazing day. But, like, I'm just excited to see how this unfolds, because it's been a whole lot of shit talking, a whole lot of Twitter banner between both fan bases. And, it's Twitter. Everybody got their own opinion. The sports shows all weeks with their stupid-ass headlines and discussions about, like, all this stuff. But, yeah, man. Patrick Mahomes can go and shut everybody up this weekend and follow with Super Bowl. It's a wrap. He's the greatest. Like, I don't give a fuck about Tom Brady's 7 Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady's had a top 10 defense for every single one of them. Patrick Mahomes, the best defense we've had was middle of the pack, and that was 2019. This year, they're good. We're top 2 in sacks, but we're the worst red zone defense in the league. Like, yeah, they've been playing better, but they're still not a top 10 defense. Like, Patrick Mahomes pulls this off, man. It's literally him. Like, obviously, it's a team sport. Everybody deserves credit, but, like, dude is crazy. And I hope he shows it this weekend, and I hope he's able to stay healthy and, ball out on that ankle. But it's left to be seen, man. It's left to be seen. But that's the episode. Gave you the picks. I'll tweet it out tomorrow, man. Hope y'all listen. If you listen all the way through to this, we appreciate you. Another episode of the books, and we almost to the end, man. We almost in 3 more weeks, and the NFL is over. And then it all starts back up in, like, the next month or 2 with the draft and everything else. And then, depending on how this year ends, we'll be right back to another headlines, I'm sure. Like, was this the year the Chargers actually win the AFC West? While Patrick Mahomes might have won 2 Super Bowls, is he still the best quarterback in the league? Like, you know how it's going to go. People just going to go run and say their stupid takes. But I'm telling you right now, if he wins, boy, I got to go dig up the footage from the first couple episodes. And that next episode, I'm about to show my ass with full receipts, boy. And if we win the Super Bowl, I already told y'all, I'm buying a plane ticket to Kansas City, and I'll be down there for the parade, turned up. I got PTO now, so I can rock out. So I'm hoping my boys pull through, man. I'm hoping they pull through. But like I said, we appreciate you if you listen all the way through. It's your kids from the neighborhood signing off with another banger, man. Conference Championship Week this Sunday. 49ers, Eagles, Bengals, Chiefs, man. Let's get it, man. It's going to be a good week. It's going to be a good week for sure. We out.
I need